Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend Matt, the lumberjack landlord. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. Mike, this is a lot of data today.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, one of the things
Like
we
I,
did, yeah.
I never went to college, but it feels like it might have been like an econ class.
I'll go ahead and photograph mine for you. You can have my Santa Clara degree.
Hard pass.
Copy it.
Didn't earn it. Didn't
just
earn it.
just white out the name.
Didn't earn it. I'm good.
But as we are ending video two, an interesting idea came up that I think we should just talk about. Something that actually lots of people did. I don't know, lots. Some people did in the last preceding the last crash. It's becoming pretty common. And that is, you know what? We are sitting on gobs of equity. This is an owner occupant conversation.
Yes.
And what we want to do is we want to recognize those gains. We want to get out and get some cash.
Yeah.
And we are comfortable renting.
Yeah.
So let's have this conversation. Who, if anyone, should sell their home today and just rent because it's cheaper? What do you think?
I've asked Ashley and she said no.
So is the lumberjack household's not doing that?
Yeah, no, I tried. I literally tried. I was like, but we could, our neighbors just sold for this ridiculous price, like 20% more than what we paid for our house. And our house is, significantly different than ours. And so I was just like, we should leave. We should do this. And she's like, no. I was like, yeah, I'm going to guess whatever. But I had a friend that did it and they had a 3-bed, 1-bath house. Okay. They bought it in 2016. They bought it for about $250 in 2016.
Okay.
In 2019, they sold in 2019 for $325 or $350. Okay. And thought, and we're like, 3 years, holy cow, we just made a ton of money.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. They thought that they were going to rent. Then they were like, you know what? We're going to move to Florida. So this is the smelling like a rose. And that's what I stared calling him. His new name is Rose. So I was like, hey, what's up, Rose? Like, shut up with that. Yeah. So he buys one of those. He rents down in Florida. He buys a brand new build.
Oh, wow.
Buys a brand new build. And so I think that those brand new builds, I think were $350 when he signed the contract.
Makes sense.
Signed the contract, low rate, blah, 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 $350.
Doing good.
He then calls me, he goes, I'm going to sell my house. And I was like, where you go? I was like, listen,
where are you going now?
You're not going to get that lucky again, bro. He goes, I think I can get $450, make another 100. And I was like, dude, but what are you going to do with the 100? He goes, you know what? I'm just going to try it. So he tries it.
Okay. Hedge
fund, buys his house, $540, no inspections, cash.
Wow. Okay.
So makes $190,000. Jeez. And was there for technically had it for 2 years. Again, no tax.
Yeah, Rose is doing pretty good.
Rosie's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So now he's renting a place. He actually moved back here from Florida. Okay. He's renting a place, but went to a cheap area, renting a place. And he's like, now we just wait out the market 3 to 5 years, but we'll rent.
Yeah. So for first off, damn, that's rolling 7.
I said, go buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah. I was going to say, damn. I'm going to follow that guy around.
Yeah.
So because again, a lot of people are asking, and where I live, all right, if you bought a home in the Silicon Valley in like 18,
yeah,
you could have bought it for 1.1. It might be worth 1.8, 1.9 now. Serious money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are, I've thought about this a lot. So I do think it makes sense for some people, right? If you are going to be moving, as in your example, anytime in the next 2 years, like either retirement or kids or something,
sell now. Yeah,
I could see where it makes sense to sell now.
Sure,
absolutely.
Yep.
However, if you are, there was another. I think Dion brought it up, right? Somebody was going to sell their house and they wanted to stay in the same neighborhood and the same quality. And they were just literally trying to time the market with no other things. I think that's way risky.
Way too risky. Again, for them, they thought that they were going to be there for a couple of years. And so it was kind of like accidental landlords. It was also like happy happenstance, right?
Yeah.
And so it was nice. The thing is that we saw like what was looking like it was going to be a downturn in 19.
Yeah, we did.
And they avoided that. And I was like, wow, congrats there. And then he got in when it was a good time in Florida.
Yeah.
And yeah, great, fantastic. House almost doubled in price, or up 40 or 50% in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But now, and they're still in their 30s, so it's not a big deal, right?
Good for them. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Can you imagine sitting on a couple $100,000 in your 30s? Woo.
Yeah, late 30s. But he's in a position now where he's like, I'm just going to wait for the next time I'm going to buy a house. And he recognizes even when things start going down, he's going to wait until there's blood in the streets. And that's probably 3 to 5 years before transactions are down. And housing, to be clear, we're not calling for a crash, but I still believe there's a correction. And so if you're at basically the same payment, even a little bit higher payment than what you would have been, but you're buying the house, let's say it's 2 years from now and it's 20% off market, but it's basically going to be the same payment, right? Okay. Yeah, that's good. And then in the next 6 to 7 years, you might be able to refi, and the rate might be not 6 or 6.5. It might be back in the 4s. This is a lot of movement and a lot of hopes and this is gambling that you are going to win. This is not sound business. This is gambling. Yeah. This is them largely living on a budget saying, hey, we have $2,000 a month for our housing budget.
Yeah.
Whether it goes to rent or goes to a house, whatever.
Yeah. It's very risky. Again, I think there are absolutely reasons to do it. If you're going to move already anytime in the future, I think it makes sense. But what I would tell someone, if you were going to I think the other video was like Las Vegas or something, and they were going to stay there. What I'm telling you is if you exit the market today, you're giving up very likely a low rate. You're getting into a rising rate environment, and you're really placing that bet. And what I would tell someone is are you comfortable renting for a decade? That's what I would ask someone.
Yeah.
And most homeowners will admit they're not comfortable with renting for a decade, right? They'll do it for a year or two, but eventually you get tired of rent increases. You can't paint the home the way you want. You can't have pets at some places. Eventually being a tenant sucks, right? If you're used to being a homeowner.
Sure.
So I think this strategy of trying to time the market, just like in stocks, is not great. Nope. I do think real estate's a little different because there are life events that make it interesting. Yeah. Again, I think the perfect example is I plan to retire in 2 years. Like I live in the Silicon Valley. It's where I lived for 50 years. If you were a tech worker and, you live in Palo Alto or one of these places just asinine priced, I could see listing your home now at some stupid number. If it doesn't sell, no big deal. But if it does sell, then you tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to rent a little while I finish my career. And oh, by the way, I'm going to go look in my other market and find what I want. So I do think it does make sense, but it doesn't make sense for most people. Most people look at this going, I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to rent something just like it. There's no rentals out there, people. There's nothing there. Nope. So yeah, I think it's an interesting idea.
I had somebody else that kind of did somewhat of the same thing. They moved into a house 4 months later. The guy goes, yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm actually going to put it on the market.
Exactly. That's what, I mean, most homeowners don't want to be a tenant. That's why they are homeowners. But
right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's speculation. I think it's dangerous. I think that you have to be prepared that, will you and your wife get divorced if your 1 or 2 year plan turns into a 6 year plan? And she's like, see, I knew we shouldn't have listened and the other thing too is Mike, in a lot of other recessions or market crashes that people then left, they've not been able to get back into that market.
Yeah. The other sad truth. Here's the other sad truth. You're sitting on $200,000 in your checking savings account and you're renting, right? How many months go by with you staring at that statement before you spend that money on a new car, a new vacation or something, and the money just goes away?
Sorry, the children decided that they needed to have a referee for just a moment.
That's okay. I like it.
Hey, come here. Say hi to Mr. Zuber. Give that back to your sister.
Hi, YouTube world.
And now this is Samuel, and then this is Bryn, and then they're going to go back and watch PJ Masks for a moment. And Daddy will be right out. Yeah. Right out. I'll bring the bobblehead with me. Right out. Here, I'll be right back with you. Here, go watch PJ Masks. So yeah, so I agree. I think it's a dangerous, risky strategy. I think life happens. I think that's fine. But yeah, I would just be super careful. It's nothing that, again, you better be prepared. Move towns, move cities, move states, multiple years. These are all things that could occur. So very dangerous strategy that I'm not willing, that Mrs. Lumberjack is not willing to employ.
Yeah. And again, if you're going to do this, folks, put that cash somewhere where you don't touch it, don't see it,
Yes.
because most of you will just spend it. So
Yes,
thanks,
do
buddy.
not spend it on frivolous things.
I'll let you go be a referee. I hear him.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thanks.
sir.
Uh-huh.